There's a fundamental reason why I do these videos on financial intelligence and your finances, because I was homeless for about 3 years. And when I say that, I don't mean like walking the streets with a grocery cart. Homelessness is very different for people that work. You live in your car, you go to truck stops to shower, or you go to a friend's house to sleep on the couch. That's just as homeless as somebody walking the streets with just a little bit better options. You know, I wasn't pushing a grocery cart. I didn't have a needle sticking out of my leg, but I was very much homeless. And that's because I was living paycheck to paycheck. And what that fundamentally meant is that if I didn't receive a paycheck that week, I was not going to be able to pay my bills. And that sounds like about, God, at least half of us here in America living paycheck to paycheck, because fundamentally you haven't rewired your brain to make yourself a priority yet. And the reason I do these videos is because when I was 28 years old, that's when this happened to me. That was a decade ago. I'm 38. I was born in 1987, making me part of the millennial generation. The reason I mention that is because when we were growing up, the corporate world sold us a lie. They sold us a lie that if you go to school, get a good education, then you'll have job security for your life. And maybe inadvertently they didn't know what they were saying to us, because that was a part of their generation where pensions were paid out. If you got a good union job, a government job, anything like that, you were almost guaranteed to work for your entire life at the same company. In my career working, I started working in about 2002 when I was about 16 years old, and I've had about 20 jobs since then, each one of them lasting about a year or two. So the job security that they sold us was a complete fabrication. And the reason I want to talk to you about finances today is because when you stop living paycheck to paycheck, you fundamentally rewire your brain, and it starts to give you options. When you don't have your finances in check, everything kind of is just on autopilot and you're in survival mode. You want to get that quick dopamine hit, and you make really, really bad decisions with your money because you're craving what the corporate world told you to do. They're telling you to buy this phone, and you think that that's going to make you feel a little bit better until the damn thing breaks and you don't even have it anymore. The reason I'm doing this video is because going into 2026, that's going to be tomorrow, the corporate rules are, they're going to go on a hiring freeze, meaning, you know, loads of people are going to be displaced. You're going to have one person doing the work of 5 people because of the AI that, you know, helps them assist with their jobs. You know, they're not going to hire anybody. And if you don't have any money saved, that doesn't give you very many options. You're just stuck on the treadmill. The rat race is what we call that. But once you start living with a mindset that I owe myself for working, then everything really sort of changes over to how can I build that emergency fund? How can I add more to it? If you get a raise at work, you don't let lifestyle creep come in and take that money out because you needed a new gadget or gizmo for whatever fucking dopamine blast you're trying to grab real quick. Fundamentally, I really, really want everybody that is struggling to change their mindset, because it really does start there. If you don't have any money right now, or you're even worse, you're in debt, you can start by auditing what it is that you have to spend. That means your absolutely necessary expenses, the ones that are not negotiable. And you can audit what you have extra. Typically, there's never anything extra because, we're not told that. Like, if we were told from the very beginning, like our parents or anything like that, if you grew up in a rich household, they're going to teach you the rules of money. But if you grew up in a paycheck to paycheck household, they're going to teach you those rules about money. That once you get it, you're going to spend it all. And this is fundamentally going to put you down in the rat race. It's not going to give you any options. If you have a horrible job where your boss treats you like absolute shit, you have to tolerate it because you don't have any money saved up. If you want to, buy a new car or something, you're going to have to go finance that with a really incredibly high interest rate because, again, you have nothing saved up. And I've been doing this for about, I guess, when I was about 31 years old. This is when I was just really, really just fed up after about 3 years of living in my car and couch surfing, staying with my girlfriend, and we even had a kid together. And that's no place to be when you have a child. You shouldn't be living in the back of your car, or out of your car rather, and in tents. Especially here in New Mexico, it's really, really nice weather during the summertime, but really, really awful during the wintertime. Very, very cold. And so you have to have a place to stay that's warm and safe, and the back of a car or in a tent is not it. And so when I was 31, I was sick and tired of living this way. I drew my line through the sand and said, there's got to be a better way. I have to do better than this. In order for my life to get better, I have to do better. And so that's where it started. Okay, that didn't mean that overnight I was instantly, making it. I mean, but I did learn the rules. I learned that I need to pay myself first because nothing happens, until you do that. You could live for years or decades even, and get a paycheck and spend the whole paycheck, and a decade later you have nothing left. But when you switch your mindset to paying yourself first, it fundamentally changes pretty much everything. You realize that you should have been doing that from the very beginning when you got your very, very first paycheck ever. That you did the work, you should have got paid for it. But you bought into consumerism, you bought the lies that the corporations told you. You wanted to feel a little bit better, so you started smoking, drinking, doing whatever you could just to feel like better. I don't think that drug abuse is the reason that people go into poverty. I think that that's a symptom of the bigger underlying sickness that our society has sold us on, that you could buy a house, you could get a good job, have it for 30 years, and retire in comfort as a millionaire. But this didn't happen to our generation. The generation that I'm in, we were sold that lie. We went to school, we got ourselves in debt, and then now we're only just starting to realize that it was all complete horseshit. And we're all waking up now. We're waking up to the reality of home ownership is nearly impossible in America. We're waking up to the reality of the debt crisis. We're not able to afford necessities, not like we used to. It seems like the prices have gone up so much on literally everything that we're just scraping by now. It's like being caught between a rock and a hard place, living in America now. And you need to fundamentally change the way you react to situations when you don't have any money saved up. You're in survival mode, so you're going to do anything that you have to keep that money coming in, regardless if that's putting up with a shitty boss or taking a job that you really, really don't like, or basically anything you can. The possibilities are almost endless for, how you can serve the corporate overlords in today's day and age for a very, very low wage. And they'll keep you in this cycle as long as they can because you're a very profitable customer. When you're poor, when you have a poor mindset, you're going to do things that boost your dopamine for that day. You can't even think about tomorrow. You don't think about the future because in your head there really isn't a future. It's survival and right now. What can I do right now to make it? Whether that be taking out a payday loan, taking a loan against your car, like a title loan, they could take away your car. And, then we're still getting that paycheck, and then like Christmas just happened, you gotta buy all these presents that you can't afford, so you're gonna put it on a credit card. That's survival mode, because you want to be a good member of your family, but you already know that what you're doing is wrong. You already know that what you're doing isn't sustainable. This practice of spending all your money isn't working, and it hasn't been working. So what you should do, and I can't speak for anybody except for myself, because this worked for me. What I did was I decided that a part of my income was mine to keep, no matter how little it was. If I was making, $10 an hour, that didn't matter, because on a 40-hour week, if I got $400, I'm going to put 40 of it away for me, and I'm going to put it out of sight, because if I saw it, I would just spend it on those day-to-day necessities that, have started to cost just astronomical amounts of money. But I had the discipline to continue. And so that's what I'm telling you about. Is I'm 38 years old and I've only been doing this for about 7 years. But now I'm to the point where I own, my own trailer home. We pay lot rent. That's nothing. That's only $300 a month. Why don't you comment below what you're paying for rent? Because I bet it's astronomical, and I bet you're barely making it. We own our cars. Pending, they're older cars, they're older model Toyota and Honda, but, we own them, we don't make payments on them, the insurance costs are lower, we've got 3 kids living in our house, so what we also do is we go to this place called the Restaurant Depot, we get a day pass, and we bulk shop for food, because that has become a very high expense in America. So we bulk shop for food, and there's plenty of places where you can do this, like Cisco. You could borrow a friend's Sam's Club card. I know that seems like unreasonable if you're starting from $0.00. You're only thinking about like dinner tonight. You're not really thinking about planning for weeks at a time, and retirement. That just seems like a far-fetched dream for anyone my age, but when I got to the point where I started paying myself, I started to build it up. And once I got that money built up, it started to give me options. First, you get that milestone of about $1,000. And what that does is it changes you. It changes you to see it differently. You don't see money as this fleeting thing anymore. You see it as like the tool that it is, that it was meant to be. It's no longer survival. It's more like this is going to give me options. So you get that $1,000 saved up, and it's going to make you more ambitious to save up $2,000. And once you get to $2,000, God, you're doing better than most of Americans that live paycheck to paycheck. 59% live paycheck to paycheck. That means it doesn't matter how much you make. What matters is the diligence about how you consistently spend it. Your expenses. If your expenses are way over what you're earning, you can do 2 things. You can You can either earn more money or you can cut expenses. I don't like living in austerity, so I always just try to earn more money. But there is things that you can cut out. If you're spending all your money on, like, pre-rolls or something, fucking knock that shit off. Go smoke a little bit less weed, drink a little bit less. I mean, Jesus Christ, your future really, really depends on it. And that's the reason for this video, is because we're talking about your future. It's going to come anyway. The time is going to pass anyway, regardless if you save or not. The future is coming, and I want that future to be abundant for you, because I've only barely started scratching the surface. I'm about 6 or 7 years into this journey of paying myself first, and no, I'm not sitting on a mountain of cash, because it doesn't work that way. When emergencies happen, which they will, you have to go in and you spend it. And if you don't, like, if you lost a job or something for a month or something, the bills don't stop. Nothing stops. But if you have that buffer, that safety buffer of, say, $10,000 or $15,000, $20,000, that's going to give you options. That's going to give you options to not have to tolerate the bullshit that you're going through right now. So if you liked hearing about, my journey from, poverty, living in my car, to now, we own a trailer home, we got our own cars, and we have money in a savings account in case of any kind of financial emergency. If you like these kind of videos, do me a favor and hit the like button. You could subscribe to my channel for more info like this. And really, really, thanks for watching this to the end. Have a wonderful day and a happy new year. Peace.